Some say our destiny is tied to the land, as much a part of us as we are of it. Others say fate is woven together like a cloth, so that one's destiny intertwines with many others. That's the one thing we search for, or fight to change. Some never find it, but there are some who are led. Wisp? Hello, little Wispy. Where'd you go? Wispy, little Wisp. Oh, come on, I was following you the whole time. I was right behind you. Where did you disappear to now? I don't see anything around here. There's nothing important. There's no... Oh! Well, hello there. I'm sorry, I wasn't really looking where I was going. I was following a wisp. Have you happened to see one around here? A wisp? Yeah, a will-o'-the-wisp, you know, the little blue light spirit of the woods. No, I assure you, they are quite real. I've seen them a few different times in my life, and every time they've led me to somewhere important. Something special, maybe magical, was about to happen. And I was riding through the woods earlier and I saw one. And usually when you see one, then you start to see all kinds of them in a line leading you on to somewhere. So I was following them, and then all of a sudden they just all disappeared. I don't know if there's maybe something in this grove that I'm supposed to be seeing or something. And what are you doing in the woods today? You're a right mess, aren't you? Oh, I don't mean anything by it. You've got all kinds of things in your hair over here. Did you fall in a briar patch or something earlier? Oh, that would explain it. What exactly are you doing out here? A witch? You're looking for the witch that lives in the woods? Now why would you go and do a stupid thing like that? Ain't you heard the stories about her? No. She's this wee woman, very, very small, sort of grey, wiry hair, these big, sort of crazy looking eyes, and one tooth. I think she only has one tooth. And she lives in a little cottage not too far from here. At least that's where she used to be. I ain't seen her in forever. If you do happen to find her, let me know, because I'd love to give her a piece of my mind. But no, from my personal experience, I can tell you, you don't want anything to do with that witch. She might sound like she's on your side, like she's gonna, give you something that you want, but witches have a way of twisting your words. You don't want to be messing with witches. You don't believe me? What is it that you're looking for from the witch? So there is someone in your village that you're in love with, and you want them to be in love with you too. Have you tried just talking to him? You're too shy. So you thought you'd go into the woods and find some strange witch that you don't know anything about, and she'd give you, some sort of potion to make you braver? That's not a way to get bravery, I can tell you that. Also, this witch, she is known to not exactly do what you want her to do. Really, it would be more trouble than it's worth. Trust me, I should know. Oh, well, it's a rather long story. I doubt that you'd want to hear all of it. I'll tell you my story if you promise to reconsider looking for this witch once I tell you, alright? Okay. You know, it's getting a bit cold out here, isn't it? The sun's about to go down. It's going to get dark pretty quick too. Tell you what, why don't we go and look for some firewood? We'll make ourselves a wee fire and then we can sit down and I'll tell you a story about a foolish, headstrong princess and a witch and a bear. Ah, there. That's a bit nicer, isn't it? The warmth of that fire. Oh, you're still looking a bit cold. Are you feeling a bit cold? Okay, well here, I don't have, provisions for a whole night. I guess I wasn't really planning on staying out this long. But I do have a saddle blanket here. If you'd like to wrap yourself up in this. Then hopefully the fire plus the blanket will be enough to keep you warm. Okay, good. Me? Oh, no. I've got a hot blood. I take after my father that way. My mother says it's the hair. She's probably right. She's usually right. Yeah, why don't you just wrap yourself up on that a bit, eh? How's that? Is that better? Good. There. Well, are you hungry at all? I was looking for firewood and I found a wild blackberry bush too. Would you like some? Good. I love blackberries. They're a bit tart. Some people maybe think they're a bit too strong, but I love that little sharpness too. And these are perfect ripeness. Not too tart, but not starting to get, sort of too ripe either. Perfect. Here, why don't you? Yeah, take some of those. Of course. What's a story without a good little snack, right? You gotta have a drink too, don't you? It's just water. It's not like it's ale or anything like that. Like I said, I wasn't exactly planning on being out so long. I definitely wasn't planning on meeting anyone. I was just out from a normal ride. Oh yeah, I spend quite a lot of time in these woods. If I had my way, I think I'd be here more than in the castle. The cat. Oh, yes. I'm sorry. I didn't introduce myself, did I? I'm Merida, daughter of King Fergus, the leader of the clan of Dunbrach. That's right. Oh, please, no. There's no need for that, look. I may be a princess, but I'm sort of rubbish at it. I'm just a person, just like anyone else. Sorry. A person who makes mistakes. Speaking of which, would you like to hear that story? Okay, I have to admit it's not my finest hour. It's really not. I'm not very proud of it, but I mean it worked out for the best. But I got lucky. I got very, very lucky. What to say? Where should we start? Here's the thing. As a princess, there are certain things expected of me. I'm supposed to be all dainty and well-spoken and gentle and wise and all of those things. Unfortunately, not really any of those things. I would very much prefer to just be riding my horse or practicing archery or sparring with the guards or something like that. But my mother was very, very determined that I was going to get a good education and become a good princess. There were lots of things that we used to not see eye to eye on. Luckily, we've gotten a bit better now. More on that later, I guess. Anyway, one of the duties of a princess is to marry someone very important. So, my mother wrote to the leaders of the other clans, and they all came and they brought their sons with them, and one of them was supposed to win my hand in marriage. Ugh. First of all, I'm not really into boys anyway. I hate boys. They're dirty and I mean, never mind. But I wasn't interested in any of them. They were all completely ridiculous in different ways. It was quite awful, really. So I bent the rules a bit, and basically I caused a big fuss. And my mother was so angry. And I tried to talk to her and just tell her that I wasn't ready for marriage. I didn't want to marry any of them. I didn't want to have to do all of that, and she just wasn't listening, and I wasn't listening to her, and there was a big fight. A big fight. And I left the castle, and I was just so angry. So hurt at not being listened to by my own mother. I felt like she wasn't even hearing me. I'm just so frustrated that I was being forced into something that I wasn't ready for. Anyway, so I was riding through the woods, and that's when I saw it. The will-o'-the-wisp. It wasn't the first time I'd seen a wisp. I saw one when I was a child too, but it was the first time in years. And when you see a wisp in the woods, it's a very good idea to follow it. So I followed it, and then all of these other wisps appeared. I started following all of them, and they led me to a tiny little cottage. A wee house in this little grove. And I went inside that house, and there was this wee woman. Strange looking woman, really. She was, big eyes, wiry grey hair, as I said. And she said that she was a whittler, a woodworker. Yeah, she had all of these carvings of bears. They were all bears. All of them were bears. All of the bears doing different things. Bears having a picnic. Bears on a seesaw. Just so many bears. So many bears. Anyway, it turns out that she was a witch. And after I found that out, I asked her for a spell. A spell that would change my mother. See, I was so angry. I just wanted her to listen to me. I just wanted to feel like I had something else in common with her so that we could actually, understand each other better, because she just did not understand anything. So I asked the witch to change my mother. Now, see, the thing about witches is they might seem like they're on your side, but oftentimes they twist your words to do something else. You see, I wasn't very specific when I was asking how I wanted my mother to be changed. And she changed her all right. She certainly changed her into a bear. Yeah, a bear. A real 6-foot grizzly bear. This queen of the land was now a bear. A bear who couldn't talk, and I still could think like my mother, but was a giant, clunky, clumsy bear in the middle of the castle. So my father and the other clansmen started trying to hunt her because she's a bear in the castle, and they didn't know what to do. I'm sure you've heard the story of King Fergus taking on Mordu and all of that, and how he lost his leg. Well, when he sees a bear now, he just sees red. More than usual. So I was able to get her out to the castle, and we rode through the woods back to where that little cottage was. But when we got there, the witch had disappeared, and all of the little carvings, all of the dozens, hundreds of little wooden bears were gone too. And there was nothing except her big cauldron right in the middle of the room. And she had left this magical message telling me that in order to save my mother and restore her back to her normal self, not a bear, I had to mend the bond. But that's all she said. She didn't explain what bond or how to do that or anything about it. She just said mend the bond. That's another thing. Witches are constantly speaking in riddles. Totally cryptic. They're not going to be, straightforward. Say, well, you did this, so now you have to do this thing. No, it's always a riddle or something that you have to think about and figure out. We almost ran out of time and my mother was almost a bear permanently. And if the spell had been permanent, she would have lost her mind as well and just been a bear. We almost didn't make it, and we were able to make it just by working together. And we learned quite a lot about each other during that time too. We really learned to appreciate each other a bit more, to try to listen, understand where the other's coming from. Honestly, it was that part's of it pretty nice. It's a story that luckily has a good ending, but it could have been much worse. And if the witch had had her way, then my mother would have been no better than Mordu. You know the story of Mordu, right? That big demonic bear that used to terrorize all the different clans around here. Well, we found out that Mordu had actually at one point been a man. Yeah, he was the son of a king, and the king was going to divide his kingdom and give part of it to each of his 4 sons. But one of his sons didn't want that. He wanted to rule the whole kingdom. So he came into the woods and he found himself a witch, and he asked her to give him more power, to give him the strength and the fierceness of 10 men. And she did that by turning him into a bear. I don't know what it is with her and bears. She just really likes bears. I don't know, maybe it's none of my business. Anyway, she really likes bears. And Mordu used to be a person. And then he wasn't able to break the spell, and so he lost, that part of himself that was human and was just a bear. A very big and dark and angry and mean bear who had his whole life stolen from him by a witch in the woods. The same witch that you decided was a good idea to go look for. So what do you think now? Oh, you think that's probably a good idea? Probably a good idea to leave well enough alone. Because just your luck, even if you tried to word your request very well, she might still end up turning you into a bear. I know for a fact she's done that at least twice. Turned perfectly good people into bears. I don't know what it is with bears, but apparently bears are it's a thing, bears. So I would not want you to end up as a bear. Especially since you're, alone and no one would know where you were. Well, I guess I would now, but no, let's not tempt fate like that. Some say that our fates are decided for us, that they're just something that happens to us, that it's set in stone and there's nothing that we can do about it. But I know better. Our fates are inside of us, and all you have to do is be brave enough to take it. So, instead of asking this witch to make you braver, instead of asking her to make you better in some way so you can woo this person in your village that you want to get their attention, what's something else you could do instead to get their attention? You know, so many people, they put so much stock in things like being so strong and being fierce and being a good warrior and all of these different things. And those things are important, of course. But what really matters when you're looking for someone to marry, that's what's in your heart. So maybe, instead of trying to make yourself this amazing, fierce, wonderful person that they'll just fall head over heels for, maybe instead just listen to them. Spend some time with them. Find out what they enjoy. What makes them happy, what makes them sad. You know, sometimes the best way to show someone that you love them is just to show them that you're listening, that you hear them, that you understand them, or at least that you're trying to understand them. That's what me and my mother learned. It wasn't just about trying to change each other or trying to get the other person to listen to you. It was taking a step back and trying to see things from their perspective. And now we do. We see each other as so much more than we did before. So maybe give that a try instead. I mean, what do I know? Not exactly someone to give, advice on love. Not that kind of love anyway, but, a lot of kinds of love are related. In some way or another, it's just showing someone that they mean something to you, There's lots of different ways to do that. So maybe give that a try. Instead of traipsing through the woods by yourself looking for some witch that you don't know anything about. Had you really never heard any stories about her before? You just thought that you'd be the exception, eh? Well, in my experience, I wouldn't suggest it. There are lots of other ways that you can help someone see you, see the value of you, and see how much you care about them, besides getting a magic spell from a twisted witch. Good. Well, I'm glad that we got to meet today. I guess this was maybe a bit less exciting as some of the other times that I followed the wisps. But no less important. Especially if it stops you from finding that stupid witch and getting yourself turned into a bear. Well, that's alright. Like I said, our fates are not written in stone. You have the power to decide what happens to you. People like to make big speeches about destiny and things. But really, our destiny is ours to decide. As long as you're brave enough